What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. We just got the data download here on Global, and look, we're not going to get the information, the official information, until tomorrow in game, but there is actually quite a lot of info to talk about today. First of which being this brand new Pirate Rumble banner, so the one with John Bart, which came out last month around the same time period as Law Kid and Big Mom. This time around, we've got the Shiki Celebration One Piece movie collection. You've got some of the other characters that debuted during the film celebration, such as Film Red Chopper, you can see down the back there. There's also going to be Fujitora, one of the best Rumble units in the game. Kizaru, which I have personally got to level 150 using wanted posters, and I limit break expanded him. And if you're running a shooter team, this guy's actually really good, I will admit. And then this Usopp, which is not a good unit. This unit is really not amazing at all. But also the Ivankov, the Rumble legend Ivankov, is making an appearance once again. This character is not the best in my opinion. But then we have a new Shiki character. This is coming out October 6th. I was going to say August 6th. It is not August 6th. October 6th, so it's going to be 2 days from now. Next news time, we'll get the news in game. The day after that is when the banner will go live. We still don't know what's happening exactly for Treasure Map this month, so we'll have to wait and see. That might change things as well. But let's actually just talk about this brand new character, which is this Rumble Rare Recruit Shiki. So it's a 5-star unit, not a legend. It's a normal Rumble unit that will re-return on other banners moving forward. But this character here, you know, he is an int striker slasher. Captain ability doesn't matter. In normal content, he's got an interesting special, 95% health cut, but then does 30 times the amount of HP lost to damage to all enemies. Very similar actually to Legend Shiki. And then changes your crew's block, G, bomb, empty slots into recovery, and then boost int dex quick attack by 2.25 for 1 turn. To be honest, this is a special that could actually be used. I can see this being used in like Treasure Map, for example. You just build a team with high HP and then just kill a boss with this special. Definitely could work. So it's going to be interesting to see if this actually sees a bit of play moving forward. Crewmate abilities, recovery slots are matching for int, it's whatever. But we're here to talk about what he does in Rumble. So in Rumble, his Rumble ability, his passive, gives your int allies level 5 attack, level 5 health, but after he receives halved stats up to 3 separate times, you can give level 4 attack down, level 4 speed down to all enemies. Now this is a thing that's kind of interesting, is that this is not a timed passive, meaning that anytime Shiki's inflicted with halved stats, he inflicts the attack and speed down, and that lasts permanently. I assume until Shiki leaves the field. If Shiki leaves the field, that might dissipate, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Either way, it's not a bad Rumble ability. It is attack and HP, which is kind of stock standard. Most characters that release kind of have that. The best combo is definitely attack and defense, because of so many characters that have HP increases. Defensive increases are kind of rare, so it is unfortunate that it's HP, but it's not a bad Rumble ability. Now, Shiki's special is actually incredibly strong, so it's a 35 CT, which is a bit high, but it does a large range 40% health cut, so that's going to hit, you know, like at a bare minimum, that should hit on average 2 to 3 enemies, maybe even more than that. Sometimes you'll get unlucky, but most of the time 2 to 3 enemies, maybe even more, as I said. But then it also targets slasher enemies for 2 times his attack, ignoring defense. This is crazy good. Now, the only real issue that I see with this is that if you're up against slasher focused teams, they typically have very fast special CT. And that's the only worrying thing that I see about Shiki, is that, like, yeah, he's going to do a lot of damage to those slashes, but is he even going to be able to launch his special before he gets knocked out by a slasher team, for example? But I think that this could, you know, potentially be used in an int-focused team taking on even like Psy-Free Spirit, where they may actually use a couple of slashes, like V2 Odin, for example. And furthermore, solidifying the fact that this is really good against V2 Odin, his resistance completely avoids action bind and gives you damage reduction against Psy characters. So it's almost like this character is built to kill V2 Odin, which is kind of funny. But even like you going up against Gold Roger, the new legend Momonosuke, who is a slasher character as well. This is a character you can use in order to combat some of those units. So it's an interesting unit. I don't think he's going to be like a meta unit moving forward, but we'll have to wait and see how he progresses and whether people can actually fit him on teams. Again, it is kind of opponent dependent because of his special being focused around killing slashers. But at the end of the day, you do still get a pretty decent health cut. But if you want a really good health cutter, and Int have a couple of other options for that, but, you know, it's fine. Like, he's just an okay unit. It is really dependent on what you come up against, though. But that is the new Rumble Shiki that's going to be appearing on this banner starting from October 6th, 1900 PST. But the next important thing that we will need to talk quite a lot about is the Unlockable Quest. So for those of you who don't know what this is all about, when you come over to the event island, at the top of the screen there is a button that you can press called the Unlockable Quests. When you click that, you're going to get access to a bunch of different islands that you can unlock for rainbow gems. Now you see that some of these older ships here, like you've got the Shark Superb, which is one of the best ships for Kizuna Clash. It costs 30 gems to unlock, which is quite expensive. I definitely get that. But when you actually unlock it, it's a very easy island. You can literally clear it with whatever you want. Some people may want to use Legend Chopper to clear it to get some duplicate cotton candies. Some people may want to use Buggy to get duplicate skill books or duplicate versions of lobsters or the Proof of Friendships. And you clear it and you get given a ship. Once you get this ship, you can level it up with Cola, obviously, and these ships are very powerful, right? Like, just have a look at some of the ships. Shark Superb, amazing. Koi, pretty bad. You've got the Megalo, which is useful in some cases. Germa 66 is pretty useful, especially due to the fact that Gear 5 is so strong. You've got the Ho ship, which is arguably one of the best in the game, especially with level 12 and mods. Zunisha is fantastic. And now we have a brand new ship, which is kind of funny because we haven't had a new, like, unlockable ship in the game for a very long time. And it's going to be the Shiki Island ship. So you go ahead and clear this. You actually get some Rumble Scrolls for clearing it too. Cotton Candy, Proof of Friendship, Guaranteed Manual, and stuff like that. So you clear it, it's a very easy quest, and you get given a ship. And we can't see in-game what this ship actually does, but we'll discuss it in just a moment, because this is not the only ship that's going to be arriving throughout this celebration. Okay, so we're over here on the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit Discord. Shout out to Solaris for data mining this information. But the Shiki pirate ship, this is what it exactly looks like in-game, and we can actually have a look at what the character, or what the ship abilities are, should we say. So the ship at level 10, so when you get it to generically, using normal Cola to level 10, it gives -1 cooldown to all characters. Dex, Int, and Quick characters will get 1.55 attack, 1.25 health, and if your HP is at full, or if your HP is below 30%, you get a 1.7 boost instead. It's pretty generic, nothing really too crazy. But the crazy thing about all of this is that this ship is going to debut at level 11 and level 12 with modifications. So we'll talk about that as well. So if you opt to use Super Cola to level it up to level 12, then you will still get the -1 cooldown, 1.65 attack to Dex, Int, and Quick, 1.45 HP this time around, slightly boost the chances of landing recovery slots, and if you have full HP or below 30% HP, 1.85 times attack instead. And I think this is actually not terrible, especially due to the fact that we have a new Quick ship, because just Mono Quick don't have good ships, unless if you're using Shark Superb in Kizuna, but in normal content, Quick don't have too many good options. Mono Int don't have amazing options either. I mean, to be honest, none of these colors really have great options. I guess it is kind of class dependent, but I guess it's okay. But using Super Cola for something like this, I'm not sure. If you do use the modifications, you can go ahead and get -1 Despair. I think that's pretty cool. And you also get an additional -1 cooldown. So if you think about it, at level 12 with mods, -2 cooldown, and you get all of these other effects, plus the ability to remove Despair by 1 turn. It's a pretty good ship. I mean, it really is. But at the end of the day, it's a big investment for a brand new ship that we don't even know if we're even going to use all that much. So I can't really suggest to use Super Cola on a ship such as this. But I mean, it's not awful, to be honest. I mean, Dex, Int, and Quick having their own ship now I think is pretty good. So I'm not mad about it. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, to be honest, is it even worth the 30 gem unlock? I honestly think probably no, not at this point in time anyway. The fun just doesn't stop though, because we have another brand new ship, which is called the White Tiger, which is the Neo Marine ship, otherwise known as Zephyr's ship. So we're getting more movie ships here. So for Zephyr's ship at level 10, the normal level 10, you get -1 cooldown, shooter characters 1.6 attack, 1.25 health, sign in slots are beneficial, and make it easier to hit perfects. So mono shooter, again, very similar to the Shiki ship. Like, it is dependent on what type of team you're building at the time, but the real fact that he is only for shooters is a pretty big drawback, because shooters probably don't see a hell of a lot of play, and I don't really think the average player is going to use this ship all that much, in my personal opinion. But when we move on to level 12, you still get the cooldown, 1.9 times attack. That is actually absurd that a ship can go that high. Just with, like, no conditions need to be fulfilled, no health thresholds, you don't need matching slots, it's not turn count, you're always having 1.9 attack. For a ship, that is actually crazy. 1.25 HP, sight int matching, easy to hit, perfect. So you get nothing else aside from higher attack, that's it. But then with mods, you get a further -1 cooldown for shooters specifically, so very fast ship to use, and then -1/2 paralysis. So I guess if you're opting to use shooters a lot, then yeah, it's pretty good. And we don't know how to obtain this ship just yet, but we all assume that it's going to be another unlockable ship. But I mean, it's okay. It's good. If you're running mono shooters, it is the best shooter ship in the game to use at this point now. But I mean, like, it's a big investment to go ahead and waste a lot of super cola or normal cola to get all of this activated. And yes, it will be the best shooter team you can build, but it's a big investment. And I think that for most players, this is not going to be a worthwhile unlock for 30 gems, especially when you add super cola into the mix. And we keep going with another brand new ship, the Catapult, which is the bullet submarine. So we're getting more movie representation. This ship gives -1 cooldown to the crew, strength, quick int, 1.55 attack, 1.25 health, boosts the captain attack by an additional 1.2 multiplier, meaning that the captains will get 1.86. Now it says boost captain's attack, which means it's only your captain, not the friend captain. I believe that's the way that it should be worded. So your friend captain still receives the normal 1.55, but your own captain is just hitting way harder. It also makes it a little bit easier to land perfects. And when you get it to level 12, you still get the cooldown, strength, quick int, 1.75 attack, 1.25 HP, boost your own captain's attack by an additional 1.25, getting you up to a 2.1875. That's an absurd number for a ship to provide to that one character. And then the rest of the effects are still the same oh no, actually this is added actually. Side deck slots are beneficial, which makes sense with Douglas Bullet, because Bullet's captain makes these slots beneficial to your crew, and then if you add side decks, it means that your whole crew's type slots will be beneficial, which is actually pretty cool. So that's nice at least. And if you have the mods, you get -1 cooldown, so you actually get -2 cooldown, and then passively boost fighter characters' base attack by 200. This is a very underwhelming ability. No utility is a bit of an issue. Like, I think it would have been cool if it was like resist 1 turn of special reverse, or end of turn damage would have been pretty sick, because that's what Bullet does, you know. And that would actually want me to get this ship done, because if we have another ship that does end of turn damage that's actually a good ship, oh, that'd be pretty awesome. But to be honest, again, I don't think this is going to really see a lot of play, unfortunately. And especially if this is a 30 gem unlock, I don't think too many people are going to unlock this ship. Like, yeah, it's kind of neat. The cooldown and more matching slots is kind of nice, but I'm personally not really the biggest fan of the Bullet ship. And there is one more to talk about, which is the Gran Tesoro, Guild Tesoro ship, which is pretty awesome. I'm really happy that this is actually being a ship. This one at level 10, you get -1 cooldown, all characters 1.5 attack, 1.35 health, boost their attack by 1.75 if they've got a G or a rainbow slot, and then boost the amount of berries earned by 2x, and if every class is on the crew, when you launch a chain lock special, you extend the duration by 1 turn. It's a pretty decent level 10 ship, honestly. It's not bad at all. I mean, yeah, to get the bigger attack boost, you have to have G or rainbow slots, which, to be fair, you're not really going to be abusing all that much. But it's just, I feel like you don't really care about this component all that much. It's the other effects, right? The 2 times berries, I think, is really nice, and I'm sure people will probably abuse that. And the fact that this is a ship for all characters is really nice. And if you have one of every class on the crew, you get the chain lock extension. Like, this effect, honestly, is kind of whatever. Like, extending chain lock isn't super important. I'm sure there's going to be content where having this random ability is going to be nice, but to be fair, I don't think it's really that useful. We move on to level 12, and it's just going to be a better version of the ship. Rainbow, 1.7 attack, 1.4 HP is very high, and then boost their attack by approximately 2x when they've got G or rainbow slots, and you get 3 times berries when you clear a quest. That's pretty high. I mean, I think the Sexy Foxy ship, which also got a buff recently, is also a berry boosting ship. I believe this is the best berry boosting ship in the game by this point. And then the every class on the crew extending chain lock effect is still the same. If you get mods, -1 bind, -1 attack down, that is a very good set of mods right there. That's very good. And to have the Gran Tesoro at level 12 with mods with this, I mean, that's not a bad ship at all. I mean, out of all these ships, the Gran Tesoro seems pretty good. The bullet ship is very whatever. I'm not a big fan of bullets. You have the shooter ship, which if you're building shooters, this ship is insane. But you have to build shooters with them, which that's the main problem. And then you got this ship. So if you're building decks in quick teams, it's just a solid option to go for, I guess. Especially if you have a team that is aiming to be at full HP or below 30%, being able to abuse a 1.7 bonus from a ship is pretty good. But you all have the options to mod these ships, get them to level 12, which again, as we've already talked about, it's a pretty big investment, which I think most of these ships are not really worth it. The best way to abuse the modifications on ships, in my opinion, the Merry-Go is probably the most useful ship because it's a good generic ship and allows you to have fantastic utility across the board. But it really comes down to what the Grand Voyage is going to be like. Now, to be fair, we haven't had a Grand Voyage in many months, but whenever we do get a new Grand Voyage, I'm expecting that ship modifications are going to play a part in building solid teams against that type of content. So personally, the way that I see it is that when a new Grand Voyage comes out, if there is a really good ship that you need to use for that content, I'll probably level up that ship. Until then, I'm just going to level up the more generic ones. Like the Hose ship is very good, and the Merry-Go. I think those are the two best generic ships that most people should be leveling up in the game. Outside of that, it's kind of like up to your discretion and what you see fit. But there's a very interesting amount of these ships. And remember that likely these ships are all going to cost 30 gems to unlock. And yes, you do get a couple of things along the way, such as, you know, some cotton candy and rumble scrolls. But I mean, it's still pretty expensive. 30 gems for one of these is pretty rough. So to be honest, I don't think any of these are overly worth the 30 gem price point at this current point in time. But I do think that there is going to be times where some of these ships with their random abilities may actually be useful, you know, like as we've talked about with this one, the fact that you can extend chain locking specials. Like maybe there's going to be a piece of content where that could be good, but I can't really see it right now. Anyways, that is going to wrap it up from me. So thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. And if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.